The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey there, gang. It's David Newman. Welcome to the show. This is so exciting. Last big brand new live webinar of the year, and you are in the right place. You're in the right place. Let me get my PowerPoint up so we can actually see something together. That would be awesome. And boom. Why speakers fail, the 9 obstacles to speaking success, and how you can overcome them. And the awesome and amazing Teresa French is here somewhere. We think. Maybe. Teresa French, are you in fact here somewhere? She's being very shy. Shy, retiring, quiet.
I just realized I didn't have my earphones plugged in, so if you said anything I didn't hear, I'm
No,
sorry.
so that's Morgan. Great to see you, my friend.
Oh
And
no, maybe I'm logged in as Teresa. This is Danae.
oh, hey Danae. So you logged in as Teresa. Wow. So that means
I'm
that
not sure
Teresa
how that
can log in.
happened.
Yeah,
Okay, let me log out.
hop out and then let Teresa log in as Teresa.
Did I miss anything?
You did not miss anything, but we're live. So this is happening right now. It's very exciting. Uh, welcome. People like, is this canned? Is this rehearsed? No, it's not canned. It's not rehearsed. It's live. It's live. So it's messy. It's messy and it's fun. All right. Well, I want to just do a quick check, make sure everyone else besides our team here can see the slides, hear my voice. Go ahead and type yes in the question box if you can see and hear okay, if this crazy pre-holiday webinar is making any sense to you whatsoever, if we're coming across the interwebs in a successful way, please let us know that. And Guillermo, Mike, Rick, Cynthia, great to see you. The other Mike, Jack, Linwood, Brian, fantastic. Thank you. All right. Well, let's get to it. Who this is for? Who this is for? This is for you, of course. This is for anyone who sells their expertise, knowledge, or wisdom. That means speakers, consultants, trainers, coaches, experts, authors, course creators, people that we lovingly call our big old do-it marketing family, speaking-driven professionals. So if you use your knowledge to solve a major life or business problem, this is for you. This is for you. And Carrie's here on Facebook Live. She's taking a front row seat to the disaster that is this webinar. All right. You like how we're cutting right to the meat? What was that, like 60 seconds? Obstacle number 1. Obstacle number 1 is being a grocery bag speaker. All kinds of topics, all mishmashed and jumbled together. Leadership, sales, customer service, marketing, time management, team building, collaboration, cooperation, communication skills, presentation skills, burnout, burn-in, stress management, health, wellness, weight loss, basket weaving, and boat building. That's how I started, minus the basket building and basket weaving and boat building. But that's how I started back in this crazy business in 2002. This was my very first program menu. Have a look at this. Try not to laugh out loud. Try and be kind. And type in the question box, what's wrong with this picture? When you have this kind of grocery bag, every topic under the sun kind of approach. I'm going to wait. And for the people on Facebook Live, get yourself over to 9obstacles.com. 9obstacles.com. So you can get the slides, you can get all this crazy stuff that we're doing. What do you think? What do you think about this, guys? Yes, exactly right. Everyone has the right answer. Ange says it's like a Chinese menu. Jack says it's like a tsunami. Eva says you don't look like you're an expert in anything. Ron says everything is nothing. Marcia says not specific and focused. Linwood says, what didn't you do? What didn't you do? That's a great question. And then Mike Davis says, nothing when you start out. You'll find out what people are looking for. Cynthia says, way too many options. No focus on a niche. Melissa says, consumers may think you know a little bit about a lot instead of a lot about certain topics. And Guillermo says, do you also walk my dog? Guillermo, I would not only walk your dog, I would wash your car. If you had a check, man, I would wash your car. I would totally wash your car. So yeah, that was a problem. That was a problem, not a recipe for success. So let's do some action steps around this one, because I think we all start this way when we're going out as an entrepreneur, consultant, speaker, coach, author. We think, hey, I've got all these great skills. I've got these writing skills and speaking skills and training skills and teaching skills. Let me just give people what they want. Not a recipe for success. So here's some action steps for you. Number one, decide and define. Figure out, what are you really awesome at? What is the problem that you solve? So decide. You make a proactive decision. What's the problem that you really want to solve? What's the set of problems, the very tightly defined, tightly integrated set of problems that you're already brilliant at solving, that your people need and want to solve? And then you got to raise the bar on that decision and define. I mean, literally write out and define, how is what you do and your solution better, faster, cooler, or smarter than any competing and alternative speaker? You can take yourself on a strategic retreat to a coffee shop, do this with a 8.5 by 11 legal pad, come back to your office, and you will be immediately more clear, more focused, and more specific in all of your marketing. And that's what I want for you, because that's the key to distinction. So we talk about articulation and distinction with our mentoring clients quite a lot. Articulation is, how do you talk about what you do? And then that's appealing and relevant and effective. And then distinction, the distinction part after the articulation, is how is that different, better, cooler, faster, smarter? And we talk about tangible points of proof. We talk about case studies. We talk about testimonials. We talk about your background. We're going to get to all of that later on in this masterclass. But first, I'm going to take a quick sip of tea so that we can continue on to obstacle number 2, which is coming right up. There it is. Obstacle number 2. Guilty as charged on this one too, early on. No target. No target market. Anybody, anywhere, anytime, and any place, any day. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to share with you a profound soundbite, little fortune cookie soundbite. It is very difficult to hit a target that you cannot see. This little blindfolded guy, he's shooting arrows all over the place. Not much is landing. And Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. So think about that. It is very hard to hit a target that you cannot see. So, action step. Who do you want to serve? Another key decision. And a lot of people, let me just back up half a step. And I want to ask the awesome and amazing Teresa French if she's on here yet. It doesn't look like she is. But we talk about this a lot, that a lot of people call this positioning, right? Obstacle 1, obstacle 2, about having all kinds of topics for all kinds of people. It's a positioning problem. It's a packaging problem. But you know what, guys? It's not. In big companies, you know what they call this? In big companies, they call this foundational strategy. The foundational strategy is answering these 2 questions. What people do you serve and what problems do you solve? So action step number 2 is make that decision. Because it's hard to hit a target you cannot see. If you market to anyone and everyone, it means you're marketing to no one. It means you're marketing to no one. The key to get some traction in the marketplace, especially in today's marketplace, is focus, specificity, and relevance. Now, I want you to think about that. Can you focus on everything at once? By definition, these 3 words, you have to make a decision, because you can't focus on everything at once. You have to focus on one particular group of people? Can you be specific to everyone? No. If you're specific to everyone, that means you're general. So you're going to have a problem there. And then relevant, it is impossible by the dictionary definition of the word relevance to actually be relevant to everyone. So if I say focus, you're going to come back with, well, focus on who? And that's a great question. You have to decide that. Specific to who? Another great question. Jot that down on your 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And then relevant, why am I relevant to these people? How does what I do connect with where they already want to go and a problem they're already aware of and probably already spending money, time, energy, and creativity in solving that problem? Obstacle number three is no sales ability. No sales ability. And this can be kind of a puzzler. So I've got this guy kind of scratching his head here going, what am I doing wrong? What's actually happening? So you can do all the marketing in the world. And you can do social media marketing and content marketing and online marketing and offline marketing and network your little heart out. But if you can't close the deal, you are not going to come home with checks. If you can't close the deal, well, you're not going to bring home any checks. So that's a problem. Now, how do I know so much about speakers and selling? I used to be a buyer. And before I became a buyer, I was just a speaker, and I was doing everything wrong as well. Everything was upside down, backwards, funky, crazy. So I spent a year as a meeting planner and conference producer. During that year, I hired over 160 speakers, consultants, attorneys, experts, all kinds of people for online programs, offline programs. I got this company into the live events business, and they were never in the live events business. They were doing audio seminars and webinars, and I took that over as well. So I did a whole ton of virtual and live events. We did 4 different tracks of programming: human resources, safety, finance, and sales. And within 2 weeks of sitting in that buyer's chair, I instantly and intuitively knew what worked and what didn't, and all the crazy stuff that I was doing wrong. All the crazy stuff that I was doing wrong. So much so that in 2008, I created a program for the National Speakers Association called Help Me Hire You. Help me as your client, as your buyer, as your meeting planner. Help me hire you. And it was called 21 Strategies to Get Booked and Stay Booked. And we focused 100% on what meeting planners were attracted to and what was effective and what they ran away from and what repelled meeting planners. And so guess what? Being a generalist repelled meeting planners. Having no industry focus repelled meeting planners. Having no specificity and no sales ability and not any ability to have a meaningful sales conversation about me, not about you, but about me, about the meeting planner, about my group, my goals, my event, my conference, right? You know how most speakers show up? Most speakers show up talking about I, me, and my website, my book, my blog, my video, my one sheet, my speaking topics. No one cares about you, my friends. No one cares about you. You have to flip the sales conversation so it's a buyer-centric sales conversation. Do not tell me about you. Ask me about me. Please write that one down somewhere. Write that one down. That's a tweetable. Do not tell me about you. Ask me about me if I'm your buyer. Ask me about me. Ask me about my group, my goals, my outcomes. What speakers were well received in the past and why? What speakers were not so well received in the past and why? What's the outcome of the meeting? Why is the outcome of the meeting the outcome of the meeting? What else is going on with your industry, with your group, with your companies, with your board members? Ask, 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 ask. These days, selling is way more about asking than it is about telling. And I've got good news because this also relieves the pressure in most sales situations. we are judged as professional sellers. We are judged much more on the questions that we ask than on the statements that we make. So stop pontificating. Stop showing up and spraying and praying on your prospects. Start asking trusted advisor questions about them, their wants, their needs, their goals, their objectives, their outcomes, their team, their members, their company, their CEO, how they're being evaluated for this meeting, how they're being evaluated for this conference, what a home run would look like, and what you can do to facilitate that experience. So don't just be concerned about the success of your speech, be concerned about the success of their event. Whew! I'm going to stop there. I'd love some comments. I'm going to take a drink here and type some comments on what we've talked about so far. Useful, helpful, enlightening? Are you guys doing some of this? What are some light bulb moments and takeaways here for the first part of our program together in obstacles 1 and 2 and 3?
I think you're spot on, David. What I loved is when you said it isn't about what you say, it's about what you ask. So spot on.
Exactly.
And smart questions win every time.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. Well, Teresa, I was, let me go back here, actually. I was actually having some fun because people were like, is this live? And Danae was on with your login and all kinds of crazy stuff was going on. I was like, Teresa, Bueller.
Bueller, is anybody there?
Yeah, exactly. But let me go back because I want to call out our friend and client, Joe Serio, about this. Right? We talked about it's very hard to hit a target that you cannot see. And then the strategy, of course, that we teach our clients is deciding on the who question. Share a little bit about what Joe just came back. We always interview our clients and we always kind of get the success stories, and we occasionally have them kind of lead a masterclass of our current clients once they're alumni. What did Joe decide about this question here? And let's drop some little bit of success nuggets on people of what he started to experience when he made that decision.
Well, it was just pure focus. He knew exactly who he was talking to, and no matter what method of outreach or networking or referral, he knew exactly who he needed to be talking to and when, because he knew exactly who his target market was. And then he became a student of the game and figured out what in this one tiny morsel, this one tiny place that I want to focus on, what are their biggest, most expensive, pervasive problems,
right,
and how can I solve them? And I think what is so clear, and what he conveyed even in his conversation today, was, the focus was the freedom to really, really dive deep and know exactly what he was doing. And there was just no mystery anymore. There was no, well, let's see what happens. Let's talk to 1 million people and hope for the best. He was zeroed in, laser focused, and everything started to take off at that point. And then one thing leads to another, because when you know who your target market is, guess what? They start to know who they are as well, because that's who you start to talk to. And you start to talk about their problems, their specific problems, not just generally. But, one of the audiences he talked about came up to him after a presentation and says, you just know so much about us. How do you know this much? And it's because he's an expert and he became a student of the game. So focus, focus, focus. You've got to know where you're aiming that arrow. And when you know that, your audience responds.
Absolutely right. And he picked a very narrow center of the bullseye. And what I want to encourage you is when you guys make this decision now, you are going to understand how vast every single industry, every single niche, every single vertical market actually is, because Joe found multiple lifetimes of opportunity once he made that decision. Trying to boil the ocean and be all things to all people, he was having a very hard time getting traction. So yeah, absolutely. And Linwood Bragan wins the amazing comment award. He says, basically, you're saying we ought to want to serve their needs, not our pocketbook. But by serving others, we can earn our own success.
Wow.
Mic drop for Linwood.
Boom.
Wow, 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 and wow. Yes, completely and totally agree. All right, so we talked about no selling ability. We told this story. Let's move on. Action step number 3 is buyer persona research, meaning that you have to know your prospects better than they know themselves. And you can do a listening campaign online. You can go to blogs, portals, communities where these people are already gathering and figure out, what are they talking about? What are some of the hot topics? What do they want? What do they need? What are they complaining about? How do they talk about the kind of problems that you solve? What's the emotional payoff for them of solving the problem? And what's the emotional burden of them having the problem? Because the key really is learning to speak prospect language about prospect problems. And I'll tell you another big obstacle, which also is part of obstacle number 3 here. A lot of consultants speak consultant speak. A lot of speakers speak speaker jargon, and they don't talk in terms of plain kitchen table English. Kitchen table English is what's going to close the deal. If you start talking, theory and big $5 words and very complex inside industry language, your prospects are gone. They're just lost. They have no idea what you're talking about. Whereas with kitchen table English, it's going to start to resonate with those prospects because you're entering a conversation they're already having in their head, and already having with their colleagues, and already having with their boss, and already having with their board. And you start using the same words and the same phrases and the same vocabulary. And what they're going to assume is that because you know the problem so well and so intimately and specifically, you must have the best solution. So the person that can define and describe the problem is almost always the one that we assign the halo effect, that they must be the smartest person around this problem because they speak about the problem so articulately. They know exactly what we're going through and they can fix it. So let's go through some numbers, some encouraging numbers, then some discouraging numbers, then we'll figure out where these obstacles really come into play for you. So the speaking business is alive and well, despite rumors to the contrary. So here are some facts from various meetings industry publications. There are 18 million meetings a year. That means there are 7,500 business meetings every single day. There were 7,500 yesterday. You probably didn't speak at those. There were 7,500 happening today. You're obviously not speaking at those because you're here with me. I'm not speaking at those either, and neither is Teresa. And there's 7,500 more business meetings that happen tomorrow. And this is every single day of the year. So please don't say there's no opportunities. There's no leads. I don't know. No one wants to hire me. Well, you might be looking in all the wrong places because the industry's doing great. $280 billion industry. 4.8% annual growth, which these days is pretty stellar. Sounds like great news, but the real question is, how is that translating into your world? Is that, in fact, creating great clients, a healthy speaking-driven business, and money in your pocket? Unfortunately, for most speakers, the answer is no. And here's where things start to look kind of bleak. Less than 6% of speakers earn $100,000 or more. Less than 2% of speakers run a business that has a $1 million top line of revenue. 50% of speakers earn less than $50,000 a year. 50% of speakers earn less than 50 grand a year. It's unbelievable. And I'll tell you why this is. In all these different economic turndowns and recessions, whether you look at 2001 or 2008 or 2011, or the one that's coming up, and there's one that is coming up, by the way, 2019, 2020 is going to be pretty awful if you listen to the economists and the people who are making these objective projections. We're going to have another flood of unemployed, laid-off executives who are going to become speakers, and there's too many of those speakers that go out and speak for free, so a flood of amateurs in the market. Too many free speakers then skew the market because then buyers and decision makers get used to free speakers, and skewed market leads to skewed strategies. Like now everyone thinks speaking for free is a great idea because a few newbie speakers speak for free because they don't know any better, and it just propagates and gets worse and worse and worse as time goes on. So here's what I mean by that. Once this domino effect starts to kick in, these numbers actually get worse, and speakers have a very hard time pulling themselves up by the bootstraps. So we actually followed up with people who booked a call with us over the past 12 months. People who booked a call, they want to grow their speaking business or coaching or training or workshop or seminar business. We asked about their revenue goals, where they are and where they want to go. And we pulled 40 of these applications, and we followed up with them between 3 and 6 months later. And I want you to guess how many people, without any intervention from any outside force, how many people actually improved their numbers or hit their goals or were any better off financially out of those 40 applications. 40 people, 40 speakers, 40 experts. How many were able to pull up the bootstraps on their own and either approach their goals, hit their goals, or start making any level of significant income? And we'll take some guesses here in the question box.
Mike says 2. We've got a 4. We got a 5. We got Peter says 10%. Peter just has a unhappy face. Cynthia says 0. DP says 0. Kirk 2. Dr. Marsha 0. We got some good guesses, David.
We do. Teresa, you want to do the big reveal?
0.
0.
No, that's not even a funny laughing matter, actually.
I mean, that is bad, right? So that is bad. But I'll tell you where this comes from. I will tell you exactly where this comes from. It's 6 killer trends in the speaking business. If you're unaware of them, you're much more likely to become a victim of them. So we'll go through these very quick. Number 1, and maybe you've seen some of this already, depending on how many conferences you go to, pay to play. So it's vendors actually paying $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 for a main stage speaking slot. Some of these slots are literally, you pay $25,000, you get 5 minutes. 5 minutes on stage. And it's reverse, right? Like those speakers are not getting paid. Those speakers are paying to speak. Industry speakers, in other words, executives, CEOs, presidents, brand managers, product managers, people that are out there speaking for free because it's on behalf of their company or their products or their brands. There is way more noise and way more competition and way more craziness out there today than ever before. Downward price pressure at every level. And we talk about this with folks all the time. If you're a $10,000 keynote speaker, your competition is not other $10,000 keynote speakers. Your competition is the $15,000 keynote speaker who's willing to do it for 10. And if you're a $10,000 guy, you're going to be competing with the $5,000 speakers because you're going to cave like a cheap card table and you're going to do yours for 5. So it's downward price pressure at every echelon of the market. And people say, well, no, I'm really good. Teresa, I'm a great speaker. I get great evaluations. I'm totally awesome. Well, you know what? That's the cost of entry these days, guys. Being good is table stakes. That's not an advantage. That's not a plus. That's what they're expecting. They're expecting you to be good. In fact, they're expecting you to be great. They're expecting you to be fantastic. And then finally, buyers are busier and pickier than ever before. Welcome to the hyper-connected internet, where we're all one text message, one tweet, one Facebook message away from anybody else. Hey, who do you know? Hey, send me 10 speakers. Hey, let me do a quick Google search. Hey, let me go to my favorite bureau that lists 5,000 different speakers. And we're just going to go through some keywords and we're going to go cherry pick some people that are in a certain budget. And we'll have 15 of these guys compete for our one speaking slot. So how do you get above that noise? This is very, very, very challenging. And if you dwell on this, and I don't want you guys to dwell on it, but if you dwell on it, it gets depressing. Teresa, does some of this get depressing? Do some people come onto a call with us and they're like, wow, dude, I've tried everything. I am getting beat up left, right, and center. I don't know if there's really a speaking business out there anymore. What kind of things do people say?
all of the above, and I'm just sick and tired. There's got to be something I'm missing. I've tried everything and nothing's working. And I can't get enough people on the phone. What's going wrong? And that's for the people who are actually doing something proactively, which many are not. It is depressing when you try and you make an effort, or worse, when you wait for it to happen and it still doesn't happen. That's a little bit discombobulating too.
For sure. For sure. So obstacle number 4, and this is the source of some of this challenge: outdated advice, greedy gurus, clueless peers who might even be well-meaning and just having no idea what works, and being in a position where you're throwing all kinds of spaghetti against the wall as fast as you possibly can and figuring out, wow, I guess I'm going to have to clean this mess up later. And we're going to look at what that mess looks like here in a few slides. But this is killer. I'm going to give you some specific and weird examples. Weird example number 1. This comes straight out of a presentation of a fairly good speaker and a good guy, but he shared his calendar when he started speaking, and he shared this as, this is how to do it. This is how to get a speaking business off the ground. He said, I started speaking in 2013. Most of the gigs were free. I did 8 gigs. I traveled all around the country, and I started in July, and I went to the end of the year, and that year I made $2,500 as a speaker. But wait, it gets better, because the next year I did 84 gigs, most of them for free, and my gross total top line income for that year was $42,000. You can do the math on this, is an average of $500 per gig. He said most of the gigs are free, so some of these might have paid $1,000 or $1,500. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Am I ever glad that no one told our clients that this is how it needs to work, or this is how it should work, or that this is a good idea? So this is a great example of misguided guru and bad peer information. Just because this particular guy did it this way does not mean it's the best way, the smartest way, or the fastest way. Now, this one really makes me upset. This is a column from Forbes.com, and it basically says speaking is not a profession, it's an activity. And you have to speak for free, then you have to go write your book, create your community, launch your platform, get some fans, get some followers. Once you've got all that down, the invitations to speak for money will come. Magically. Somehow. I hope. So this is a totally passive, do all this busy work and then sit and wait for something to happen. Again, thank goodness no one told our prospects that this was a great strategy, because frankly, it's total BS. It's total BS. Here is proof that it's total BS. This is a fantastic client success story from our client, John Ramstead. John was a leadership coach, never really gotten paid to speak, did a lot of coaching work, had a lot of coaching relationships with executives. He says, David, using your talking points, I just got my first $25,000 this week. Client gave me $5,000 at the last meeting and will pay the balance when we start our program next week. Muchas gracias. I guess when he's really ecstatic, he speaks Spanish. So this was a zero to hero. And we have a whole bunch more of these that I'll show you towards the end. But guys, there is no make $2,500 in year 1, make $42,000 in year 2, do a whole bunch of nonsense for free, do a lot of spray and pray marketing, and then wait by the phone. No, 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 no. Please, I'm begging you, please don't do that. Don't do that. It breaks my heart. It breaks Teresa's heart. I hate to see Teresa cry. It's really annoying when Teresa starts crying because clients believe that horse crap and they hold themselves back from the kind of success that John Ramstead and so many of our clients have had, where they immediately hit it on week 1, month 1, sometimes even on day 1. And there's no waiting. There's no way. Where's waiting part of the recipe? Teresa, where's waiting part of the recipe?
Only in a restaurant, and we're not in the restaurant biz, so there is no waiting. No tipping.
Only in the restaurant business, right? Remember, guys, your food is cooked fresh, so there may be a bit of a wait. Not here. Do the frickin' work. Do the frickin' work, and then the waiting, no longer part of the equation. Waiting is far from a necessary ingredient. So here's the marketing busy work that a lot of other gurus and coaches recommend. You've seen the list. I find it exhausting. We find it exhausting. Our clients find it exhausting. Blog, tweet, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, networking, trade shows, media, PR, referrals, postcards, cold calling, speaking for free, webinars, your video channel on YouTube. You have to write a book. You have to host a whole bunch of podcasts, do interviews, make sure your search engine optimization is tuned up, make sure you're doing your text message marketing, list building, get on radio, get on TV, create infographics, throw up some ebooks, run some Facebook ads, run a whole bunch of video series, do some exhausting launches, do a whole bunch of endless live streams, create online group. Come on. Come on. Please.
You just wore me out reading the list.
I know. It's nutty. But this is the advice that's out there. So, better strategy. Action step number 4. We could make this really short and just say stop it, right? But I'll give you some better ideas. Choose a few proven marketing tactics that you actually find easy, effortless, and enjoyable. Play only to your strengths. Commit to 1 or 2 main dishes on the marketing buffet and don't try and do 10. Here's the magic. Magic 3 words. Drop everything else. You don't need it. It's distracting. It's annoying. It's nonsense. And it's not money-making activity. So you officially have permission to stop doing the non-money-making activity. Imagine if you went to a buffet and there was the meatloaf, fish, chicken, lasagna, all kinds of things, and you ate 10 main dishes. Not only would you get full really, really fast, you would feel sick to your stomach and sick in your head. So don't eat 10 main dishes. Sample 1 or 2 and stick with those. And eat your greens and brush your teeth and stop being crazy. So let's look at the thriving 6%. What do these guys have that you might not, but you will starting now? The 6% who are really making it, what do they know, do, and have differently? What do they know, do, and have that you don't? They have 7 things, my friends. This is our system. This is our grid that we pull out of our Speaker Profit Formula Mentorship program. It's strategy, packaging, focus, prospects, outreach, sales, and leverage. And if you guys have seen this model before, you know how it works, where it's kind of marched down here. If any one of these things is missing, you're going to have the problem. It's in the right-hand side column. So without strategy, you've got a serious problem called tacticitis. Tacticitis is tactic after tactic, and of course, random tactics lead to random results. If you don't have packaging, then you're a commodity, and you know how well that works. Without focus, you become a squirrel, and you start chasing after any shiny object, very distracting. Without prospecting focus, without a prospecting strategy, you pinball from group to group and industry to industry, from the plumbers to the accountants to the lunch ladies. The problem is the plumbers don't talk to the accountants don't talk to the lunch ladies, so it's very hard to get traction that way. Without outreach, it's BKS, stands for best kept secret. If you're waiting for the phone to ring, right, you're like the pretty girl staying at home with no dates, not going to work. Best kept secret, deadly, guilty as charged, that used to be me. With no sales ability, where you can't close the deal, you are going to be slowly going broke, like I did in the first 3 years of my speaking business. And then without leverage, you risk being burned out. Even if things are working, you're on the gig-to-gig hamster wheel. So I'm curious, out of these 7 problems, type in the question box which ones are most familiar to you. Is it tacticitis? Is it commodity status? Squirrel? Pinball? Best kept secret? BKS is best kept secret. Slowly going broke is slowly going broke because you're not doing enough sales activity. Or is it burnout, where everything is working, but man, you're on the gig-to-gig hamster wheel, way too much travel, not enough time for strategy, not enough time to write your books, not enough time to enjoy your family, not enough freedom built into your business model. That leads to burnout. And if you have several, put in several. If you want to name them, you can name them. If you say, call them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Strategy is 1, packaging is 2, focus is 3, prospects is 4, outreach is 5, sales is 6, leverage is 7. And Teresa, what are people saying in here?
We've got some squirrels in the house. We've got prospects. Marcia says prospects. Melissa says, I'm such a squirrel. Brian says packaging. Anj says packaging as well. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. We have Guillermo has BKS. Sandrina says packaging. Several packagings. And yeah, lots of squirrels. Amy's a squirrel.
Okay. Well, so we're gonna figure out some ways to get through all of that. But thank you for the honesty, because obviously when you're diagnosing yourself, because here's the other thing. When you're diagnosing yourself, the clarity comes, but you have to be objective about it. So like if you and I were sitting down having a cup of coffee and you told me for 5 minutes about your speaking-driven business, speaking, coaching, consulting, training, workshops, etc., I would be able to diagnose, because I'm outside your head, right? I'm just not you. Within 5 minutes of you and me sitting down at Starbucks having a cup of coffee, I could diagnose which one of these is missing for you. And here's the thing. Almost all of the folks that we talk to, they're missing more than one. They're missing more than one. So you got to fill these gaps. You got to close up these holes in the ship. Otherwise, I mean, these are like 7 more obstacles, basically. You're getting 16 obstacles total. The 9 we're talking about plus these 7. Teresa, we got to rename this thing 16 obstacles instead of 9.
There we go.
I think you guys are getting some bonus obstacles. But seriously, these are fixable, but you might need an objective third party to peek into your business, see what's going on, see what's working, see what's not, and then give you some objective, straight up advice. And sometimes that advice is tough to hear. And sometimes you got to kind of take your ego out of the equation to really listen to that advice so you can pivot and make some changes. So let's look at strategy. Obstacle number 5 is this gig-to-gig hamster wheel, running way too fast, going from speech to speech to speech to speech. And one of our favorite clients, Mike Thompson, calls this hunting wabbits. He's a big Bugs Bunny cartoon fan. He remembers Elmer Fudd saying, "Shh, be very, very quiet. I'm hunting wabbits." And he was constantly hunting wabbits, constantly on the hamster wheel. Here's how to get around that. Action step number 5 is to install a repeatable, reliable system. So you need to have a strategy driving these tactics. And the strategy that we recommend is really nailing down your business model, nailing down your service model, and nailing down your revenue model, and then staying faithful to it and not caving on price and maintaining your price integrity so that your revenue model can actually generate cash. I'm curious, in the question box, how many people have a revenue model, like a goal or a number or a mechanism to make a certain amount of money each month, and you're not making it? So you have the model, but you haven't really gotten the results from it. Go ahead and just put model, M-O-D-E-L, in there, where if you have a revenue model, I mean, God bless you, that's half the battle. But then if you haven't made the money that you planned, let's hear about that too. And there's some ways that you can enforce a revenue model. There really are. And a lot of people don't do it. A lot of people don't know it. But guys, we are in charge of the fees that we get. People go, oh no, the client's in charge, or the client's budget is in charge, or there's no possible way that I could make that kind of money or charge that kind of money. That's not up to them. That's up to you. And if you're having a problem enforcing your revenue model, it's probably because there's some price integrity issues or some mindset issues that are preventing you from talking to the right people with the right language who actually have the money to solve the problem that you're already brilliant at solving. Do we have some revenue model people in here, Teresa?
We've got a few honest people. We've got a couple of people model a revenue goal. We won't name your names. You're being very transparent.
That so, quiet.
I have a revenue model. I'm below by 10 to 15%. Model. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like a lot of them are, those who are being honest aren't making their revenue goals.
Right. So here's the deal. Strategy is great when you enforce the revenue model. That means it's a repeatable, tactical process that once you are on the other side of that, you now have a predictable flow of clients and cash. Every month, every quarter, every year, you are hitting it hard. You're getting after it. You know where to go. You know what to do. You know who to talk to. You know what to say when you get there. And you know how to have a meaningful sales conversation from initial contact all the way through signed contract. If you had that repeatable tactical process, do you think you could be successful? And just type in the word process. Like if we gave you that blueprint and said, here's everything that you need to do, say, and send from first contact to signed contract, could you implement that repeatable tactical process? Put the word process in there if you would love to get your hands on that blueprint. Because here's the deal. And we've done this, by the way. This is kind of sad news here as you guys are typing. We've given people this blueprint and they go, oh no, I couldn't possibly. Oh no, that wouldn't work for me, right? We call this special snowflake syndrome. I'm in a different industry. I'm special. I'm unique. I'm different. You know what, guys? Everyone is different. When it comes to this stuff, nobody's challenges are unique. We've seen 1,000 different flavors of this. And if you're decisive and committed and ready to get out from under this problem, we can help you get out from under this problem. But without the mindset and without the gumption and without the drive, every process, every tactic, every script, every template is going to be meaningless. So I'm asking you a genuine, honest question here. If we gave you the outside tactical stuff, would you pick up that tool set of that process and run with it and then type process in the question box? I'm curious if people is it a mindset problem or is it a process problem?
Well, from your question a few minutes ago, we have quite a few. Ange and John and Corrine and Cheryl and Linwood, Ron all said process. And now we've got a couple of mindsets coming in. Claire says process. John says mindset. Peter says it's accountability. It comes down to an accountability and focus. We've got to focus, but it's accountability and execution. So that could be fed by process.
For sure.
Jen says process.
Excellent.
More mindset than process, Mike says.
Fantastic. Well, you know what? It's 50-50. Mindset without the process, you're spinning your wheels and you're all excited to go in and you have no idea what to do. Process without mindset, you know exactly what to do and you can't get out of bed in the morning, or you can't push the button, you can't make it happen, you can't, it's bad on both sides. So mindset plus process is the magic. Exactly right. Let's look at packaging. Packaging problem is speaker. I'm a speaker. I come to your event and I speak. Well, no, you're not a professional speaker. You're a professional problem solver. And they're all different methods and modes to distribute your expertise. So once you understand that this goes way beyond speaking, you will easily command $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 fees. You'll be positioned as the obvious choice for premium clients, not just for speaking, but also for coaching and consulting and training and other work. Those clients are expecting to pay premium fees. And notice that the word count here, the word choice is very important. I didn't say they're willing to pay. I didn't say they're able to pay. I said they're expecting to pay premium fees for the kind of results you deliver, and you'll build a consistent $15,000 to $30,000 a month or more speaking-driven business if you only serve the top tier of clients. But not just with speaking, with everything that's in your toolkit. So Tony Lucero came through our program. He says, long story short, I picked up 2 coaching clients totaling $32,400, and I'm on retainer for 90 days at $10,000 per month with the company. Now, notice he was a great speaker, but this is not speaking income. He said, how else can I help? How else can I serve? What else do you need? And he wasn't just pigeonholing himself as speaker, 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 speaker. He was a professional problem solver. Professional problem solvers are the ones that speak and get coaching clients for $32,400 and get $10,000 a month retainers for 90 days. So my comment down below here was love, love, love these results, energy, and momentum. Go Tony. And Tony says your program, David, made this possible. So another huge, huge shift in Tony's business is redefining himself from speaker, professional speaker, to professional problem solver, professional thinker, and professional problem solver, with many different layers of investable opportunities and many different depth and duration and detail combinations of how he can help clients, not just a 45-minute talking head keynote. Very, very important that you guys make that shift. Let's look at prospects next. Teresa, these potatoes are too small. These right here, it's small potatoes. We have the 500-gram potato, the 329-gram potato, the 260-gram potato. I weighed these potatoes, my friend. I weighed them.
You weighed them yourself?
On my counter, and I'm sorry, they're too small.
I hate small potatoes.
Small potatoes is obstacle number 7. And you have to transform your thinking, my friends. Nobody will value your expertise more highly than you do. So what does that mean? You have to let go of small potatoes thinking. You have to let go of imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Who am I? I don't have a professionally published book. I don't have a whole bunch of letters after my name. I've only been doing this for 17 years and someone else doing it for 34 years. Spray and pray marketing. That's a sign of small potatoes thinking. Outreach reluctance, the 10,000-pound telephone. That's a sign of small potatoes. And then hiding behind, well, I'm just going to go on social media. I'm just going to hire a PR firm. I'm just going to get my name out there. And we call this getting my name out there BS, which is never going to bring you a single gosh darn client. So in this category, I'd love you guys to type in the question box, which one of these 5 is impacting you? Small potatoes thinking, you can type small potatoes. Imposter for imposter syndrome. Are you all over the map with spray and pray? Are you not doing enough outreach? You have outreach reluctance. Or, like me and like a lot of people early on, are you hiding behind this getting my name out there nonsense? So put in small potatoes, imposter, spray and pray, outreach, or I call it either PR or PRBS.
I think we have a new one we need to add to the slide, David.
I'm ready
for this.
I'm ready.
Small potatoes being sprayed.
Spray and pray the potatoes. Yes.
There you go.
I am praying for your potatoes, my friends.
Ange says spray and pray. Corrine says all. Sandra says 2 and 4. Amy says imposter. Cynthia says imposter syndrome. Imposter and spray, says Linwood. Guillermo says outreach. Philip is BS. Getting the name out there.
Yep.
Yep.
So
I've got a couple more imposters. Yep.
The process half is great, but the mindset half will kill you. The mindset half will kill you. Teresa, would you say most of our clients, we'll do total open kimono here on this one. I think I know the answer, but please answer as you would anyway. Most of our clients, when they get stuck, are they stuck on a process or a tactic, or are they stuck on this stuff?
Oh, they're stuck on this stuff because this is what stops them from deploying the tactics or using the process, because it demotivates them to the level that they just don't want to, so they don't. Or they don't think they can, or any effort they put in, it's just not going to end up being anything. It's not going to turn into an opportunity. I might as well just quit. It's almost like an Eeyore syndrome. I'm not as good enough as everybody else.
And so negativity, pessimism, and cynicism has one impact on your business, and proactivity and optimism and positivity has a completely different impact on your business. So are you buying into the negativity, pessimism, and cynicism? Or if we could flip the switch on your mindset and get these 5 things squared away, do you think you could finally rock and roll into the next level of your speaking business? Whether you're already making 10, 15, 20,000 a month, and some of our clients are, or whether you're starting at square zero and just launching this thing for the first time, this mindset stuff, whether you're starting, launching, elevating, or escalating, if you don't get this right, you are not going anywhere new. You're not going anywhere fun or anywhere exciting or anywhere profitable. So it's really, really critical to get a handle on this, recognize it, and nip it in the bud as soon as you possibly can. Let's even start with the definition of a prospect. A prospect is the person who owns the problem that you solve, meaning they have a need, they have a desire, and they have a budget to solve the problem. Let's unpack that. Need speaks to relevance, and we talked about relevance earlier. Desire means that they want to solve it. There's an urgency behind it. This is not news to them that they have a problem. And then they have the budget. In other words, they have the ability to pay for your expertise to solve the problem that they have. Now, here's the kicker. If they don't have your fee, they are not your prospect. Period. End of sentence. It's like, well, no one has my fee. No one has it. I can't find anyone who pays speakers. Big clue, you're talking to the wrong people. You're talking to the wrong people in the wrong places, or they're in the right places at the wrong level. So they don't own the problem. If you talk to somebody who owned the problem, they would bring you in so fast your head would spin. We were half kidding today. We had a client call today, and we were literally only half joking. When one of our clients, who's already closing 6-figure deals, we said, you know what? If you reframed it this way, they would pay you $750,000 for a year-long program. And she's sitting there going, yeah, you're right. They would. But that's because of need, desire, budget. And if you're talking to the wrong people, it doesn't matter what you say. Please write that one down. There's a tweetable. If you're talking to the wrong people, it does not matter what you say. It just doesn't. So prospecting success. John Garrett came through our program. He says, David's program is easily the best ROI a recovering CPA could dream of. I was able to sell more speaking engagements to better clients. And that's what we're talking about right here. Sell more speaking engagements to better clients and at consistently higher fees to the point of an 85% increase in income from last year. I booked a $5,500 gig within 5 weeks of starting the program. So, couple things here. Notice no more small potatoes. Notice no waiting was necessary, right? John came in, he hit it hard, he put the mindset blocks and the small potatoes and the imposter syndrome behind him, and almost right away, total transformation in results, total transformation in his sales conversations, and total transformation in his income because of these differences and because of the power of mindset plus process equals results. Action step number 7 is aim higher sooner. Aim higher sooner. What that means is nothing is stopping you from going to the top of the national and state associations that serve your target industry. A lot of times people say, oh, well, I'll start local, I'll start small, I'll start in my backyard. No. First of all, many of those gigs do not pay. So if that's where you're looking, I will tell you categorically you're looking in the wrong place. Because state associations and national association conferences, that's where you will get a fee more often than not. I'm not saying that every local and city event is free, but I am saying that more often than not, they are. So these are patterns, right? We have to become good at pattern recognition if we're going to become good detectives. And there's an association for everything. So SHRM is where the HR people go. ASSP is where the safety people go. AICPA is where the accountants go. There's even a professional association with meetings who hires speakers of the Professional Pooper Scooper Association. And yes, there is a professional trade association for the pooper scooper companies. It's called APAWS. I put their logo up here for you in case you can't read it. It's the Association of Professional Animal Waste Specialists. Isn't that a clever little acronym there? APAWS. So trust me, my friends, if there's a professional association of the pooper scooper people, there's a professional association of your target market too. Obstacle number 8, we're in the home stretch here. Same-o, lame-o language. You sound the same, look the same, and act the same. There's no specificity to what you do, no relevance, no urgency. You're hedging your bets. You're playing it safe. You're totally playing it safe. In other words, you're a leadership speaker who looks like every other leadership speaker. You're a sales speaker who looks and sounds and acts like every other sales speaker. You're a customer service speaker, looks and sounds like everyone else who does what you do. Health and wellness speaker. Same-o, lame-o, blah, 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 blah language. Who's been here? Who's been in that generic, okay, I picked a lane, I'm going to pick leadership, but then when you look around, you're like, oh my God, there's 5,000 leadership guys and gals just like me. Type in the question box if you've ever been a victim unintentionally of this kind of same-o, lame-o, plain vanilla positioning and you had to change something. And just put vanilla. Put vanilla or same-o, lame-o in the question box. I'll be right back. Gotta let Woofy the Wonder Dog out. I know, just Teresa will amuse you while I'm gone.
We'll talk about vanilla. Vanilla ice cream, vanilla candy. How many vanillas? John says, I actually took this and with the intention to make myself different. Claire says, vanilla. Same old, leadership, communication. Vanilla is a favorite flavor. Well, it's good in some things on ice cream and a la mode for the pecan pie.
Everyone has vanilla. That's why it's popular. Popular doesn't mean it's profitable.
That's
Chunky
right.
Monkey. You know what's profitable? Chunky Monkey.
Chunky Monkey.
Hashtag Chunky Monkey. That's what we need to do. Chunky Monkey.
Vanilla bean.
We have some people that are familiar with this syndrome.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
The vanilla folks are in the house. Guys, it's time to go Rocky Road. Chunky Monkey, fish food, go crazy.
Sounds like you're a Ben and Jerry's fan, David.
I am. I'm trying to think of the one they discontinued that was so good. Dastardly Mash.
Oh.
Dastardly Mash was the chocolate ice cream. It was like Heavenly Hash, except instead of vanilla, it was chocolate ice cream. And it's the only ice cream they ever made that had raisins in it. Dastardly Mash.
Raisins and ice cream.
It's in the Ben & Jerry's flavor graveyard if you ever go up there and visit. It's very sad. So be Chunky Monkey. Be Chunky Monkey. Do not be vanilla. Stand out from the crowd. So, how do I do that? David, how do I do that? Teresa, great question. Think about layers of your expertise and use the unique overlap of your background, your history, your strengths, your expertise, past jobs, past careers, past lives, anything that you have. You want to mine that. You want to kind of go in and dig deep into that and pull out the context of where your expertise is now unique because of the combination and the overlap of your different areas of expertise in the past. We call this having the right names to drop and the right stories to tell. And there's low-hanging fruit, almost everyone that we do this exercise with. And we do this on strategy calls. We do this with our clients. We do this when we do our copywriting with our clients. We figure out where did they come from, what brought them to do what they're doing today, and what's awesome and valuable about that to a client. Let me emphasize the words to a client. And it's so easy. This is like your backstory, right? This is what fuels you. And this is what makes you distinct in the marketplace as uniquely qualified to do what you do in your own way. It immediately decommoditizes you, and that's the kind of thinking that you want to do. So again, on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, you can brainstorm this. You can, put it on a flip chart or a whiteboard or use Post-it notes and just put all of these things together. Your background, your history, your strengths, your expertise, your experience, your past jobs, your past careers, your past lives. Where do you have the success stories? The right names to drop, the right stories to tell about what makes you awesome at what you do today, even if you're new at doing what you do today, but you could not have possibly gotten here without all of those previous stepping stones along the way. So very, very powerful exercise to help you nail that down. Susan Robertson was in pretty much this boat, and she had never been paid any significant money to speak. Her first gig, once she started working with us, was $7,500. The next gig, even though it was a lower price point, I thought was even more exciting. So here's what she said. I got a speaking gig that I feel sure I never would have gotten if I weren't in your program. It's chock full of prime prospects for me. I would have done it for free, but instead I'm getting $3,500 plus full-length HD video, personal introductions to people I target from their list, plus video testimonials. That's a huge win for me for something I would have normally done for free and probably wouldn't have even thought to try to get regardless. I mean, talk about small potatoes, right? So she's admitting that the old Susan is like, oh no, I'm not good enough. I'll just come. I'll do it for free. So here's the deal. These two posts were within 6 weeks of each other. So from $0 to $11,000 of speaking-driven income. And since then, she's gotten gigs for $12K. She's gotten a 2-day gig for $30,000, and she is up and running. She's actually working right now. It hasn't quite closed yet, but she's working on a $450,000 year-long consulting package. I guess those are ginormous potatoes and no longer small potatoes. But everything is driven by the confidence, the clarity, the control, and the focus of getting your game right and having a client-centric message of value, impact, results, and outcomes. So, obstacle number 9 is sales and fees. So this is from the National Speakers Association. This is kind of like the minimum wage scale. Minimum wage scale for experts who speak professionally. Notice it starts around $3,800, $5,500, $57,600, $7,600, almost $8,000. What I would encourage you to not give a lot of credence to is this left-hand side axis. That's what it's called, axis. Because even if you're in this for 1 or 2 years and you're not charging $5,500, you're undercharging. You're in this for 6 to 10 years, you're not making $6,000, $7,000, undercharging, right? This is the minimum wage scale of what it takes to take you seriously as a professional speaker. Will you make more money if you start to increase your fees? Sure you will. But you know what? I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about how not to undermine the perception of your expertise by undercharging. So this is not about what you need to get paid. It's about what they need to pay, what they need to invest in you to take you seriously. What they need to invest in you to take you seriously. So here's some sales success stories. I had to run some numbers for my financial planner. We had gross revenue of $106K for the past 6 months. That's more than I've ever made anywhere in any 6-month period. Another thanks. Have a great weekend. I got another gig for $12,500 for a day. I'm steadily raising my fees and so far getting it. I'm still not getting as many as I want, but I'm getting more for the ones I'm getting, so I'm happy with that. How's your 30K gig coming along? Did that close? Yes, it's in 2 weeks. Because of David and Teresa, I have a system to contact qualified leads. My sales proposition is what they're looking for, and I'm booking clients. And then Teresa said, oh, we made a great team. You drove. We played the voice of the GPS. So glad to hear things are rocking in your world. $20,000 income. This one is, I broke the 6-figure mark already this year, and it's not even October yet. Thank you. What you're teaching works. Thanks for everything. Getting back on track. Booked $33,000 in the past 3 weeks. I've been using the stuff in your workshop. I booked 2 $5,000 speeches this week. Thanks, David. Proof that it's always best to get on the phone to discuss possibilities and go into the conversation with a confident I can help you mindset. My client call ended in a full fee booking for February, $7,500. Boom, easy, done. I love this stuff. $60,000 to $70,000 contract in less than a week of sales cycle. I have a handshake and a verbal agreement from the CEO, waiting for the paperwork. And one of my favorites, I completed the marketing language bank for one side of my business, and later that week had the words on hand during a sales call to land an ideal client for a 2-day gig at $20K when previously I would have charged $8K. So it's a $20,000 deal that just closed. So here's the reality check on the fees. If you're tired of undercharging and under-earning, even if you're a seasoned pro, fees are a filter for your best clients. Please embrace that concept. Hug it, kiss it, take it out for a milkshake. Very important. Fees are also a filter for who they look at and who they take seriously. Premium clients expect premium fees. We talked about that before. It's not about what you need to earn. It's about what they need to pay. So I recommend using at least 3 investable opportunities on your menu. So that can include speaking, training, coaching, consulting, licensing. I threw some fee ranges up there for kind of typical fee ranges for these kinds of things that our clients regularly get. $45, $55, $75, $9,500 for a speaking or training day. Coaching packages anywhere from $6,000 to $15,000 a month. Consulting gigs anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 a month and up. Licensing deals, sponsorship deals. It goes on and on and on. But this goes, again, back to our mantra of more than just a speaker, and you're a professional problem solver, and you have a variety of distribution methods for that expertise. All right, I'm giving you a bonus one, you guys. I'm giving you a bonus. I'm going above and beyond. Obstacle number 10 is the lone wolf syndrome. Man, oh man, I was guilty of this. I'm going to say, the first 8 years of my business, really until about 2010 or 2011, I had no coaches, no mentors, no guides, nothing. And I was just scratching my head, banging into every brick wall, hitting every dead end, figuring, I'm a smart guy, I'll figure this out on my own. And it slowed me down, and it cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I wouldn't recommend going it alone. Everyone should have a mentor. Mentoring brings in new ideas and accountability and real-world advice. It's basically your GPS. It's your compass. It's your map. It helps you accelerate speed, shorten the path, avoid expensive mistakes, remove obstacles. It is the straightest, shortest, sharpest line to outcomes and results. And a good mentor is going to give you great ideas and make sure you act on them. A great mentor will also put together a powerful group of people all working towards similar goals, and that is a force multiplier. In our mentoring program, for example, there are people earning $3,000 a month working right alongside others who are earning $30,000 a month and more, and because of that interchange of ideas and personalities, everybody wins. Everybody wins. So here's again the snapshot of the system that we use and recommend. The first 3 pillars are really internal, getting your strategy and packaging and focus dialed in. The next 3 are external, with your prospecting, your outreach, and your sales. And then, of course, we have your scaling and leverage strategies at the end that create an ongoing perpetual marketing machine around your speaking-driven business. So I would invite you to really look at a system like that, because the old way of speakers getting booked, paid, and building a high-profit business, that's coming to an end. You're dealing with recycled information out there, outdated strategies that we talked about, clueless peers giving bad or misguided information, greedy gurus, broken promises. They are going to take a lot of speakers out of the business in the next 6 to 12 months. They've already taken a lot of speakers out of the business, and that really breaks our heart, because good speakers that have bad marketing, and I put this in one of my emails. You guys are here because you got the email. Are you a 10 speaker trapped in 2 marketing? There's a lot of 10 speakers that are trapped in 2 marketing. We don't want you to be one of them. So if you want to win, you need to do things smarter. Focus on solving real problems for your clients, building a real business, and not just finding the next gig. And the time to do that is right now. So at this point, you've got a choice. You can keep going the old way, old results, slow, difficult, painful, unpleasant, spinning your wheels, not getting enough traction, not reaching the next level of income in your business, no guidance, no accountability, no support. That's a hard, lonely road. And I tell you, I did this with no accountability, no coaches, no mentors, no support, and it sucked. And when my business started to hockey stick is when I started following the right mentors and the right programs of the people that were doing exactly what I wanted to do. And I was able to replicate their systems and processes. I was able to shift my mindset. And that's when the breakthrough started to happen. So I'm going to invite you to a breakthrough call. And that is doitmarketing.com/call, because that can all end today. All the frustration, all the craziness, all the dead ends, all the brick walls. We're going to get you on a call. We're going to diagnose what's really going on. We're going to find the strategic gaps. We're going to help you refocus and reframe and reboot everything that we talked about today. We're going to look at what needs to be fixed when it comes to your messaging and your packaging and your positioning and your pricing and your marketing and your sales and your fees and everything. We're going to fill in what's missing for you to consistently get clients that you love and finally earn what you deserve. And the URL for that is doitmarketing.com/call. And we're going to click into our Q&A here in a minute. But the only catch with these calls, it's truly not for everyone. So I want you to pay attention here for another quick second, because this is not for you if building a high-fee speaking-driven business is not your number one priority for the next 3 to 6 months. This has to be a now thing, not a someday, maybe dabbler kind of thing. So if you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, this probably is not going to be a good use of your time. If you refuse to follow a proven process and you refuse to take action on instructions, right? There's the can-do, will-do gap. We want people that can do and will do. So if you refuse to change your low-fee mindset, your low-fee business model, you have to be coachable. We have to get you out of marketing to broke prospects and get you marketing to premium prospects. If you're a fake expert or a shyster or a weirdo and your program or topic doesn't truly help people and companies improve, we're obviously not going to give weapons to children, so you don't qualify for the call. And if you're stone cold broke and you can't pay the rent this month, I've got bad news and good news. The bad news is this: no get rich quick. We don't believe in get rich quick. That stuff is so toxic and so crazy. We believe in get rich smart. So it's a get rich smart program, even though some of our clients have had some very rapid success in the program. So who should go to doitmarketing.com/call before we pivot into our Q&A session here and help you guys answer all your questions? This is for you if you're serious, decisive, and committed to making your business profitable over the next 60 days. Whether you've started speaking or you're a seasoned pro, and there's no such thing as too beginner for these breakthrough calls, and there's no such thing as too advanced. So whether you've got your niche or message nailed down or not, that's part of what we can help you with on the call. Whether you're in it full-time or you still have the corporate job or the day job, we've helped doctors, we've helped lawyers, we've helped corporate executives with this. So it doesn't matter if you're working full-time, if you're 1 foot out the door, if you're all the way out the door, we can help you accelerate that path too. Whether you've gotten a few paid speaking gigs or a whole bunch, as long as you're willing to follow a proven process to ramp up revenue and you take mentorship and direction well, and you want to put 10 to 20K in your pocket over the next 60 to 90 days and build a predictable flow of clients and cash, I'm going to encourage you. Book a call with our team, doitmarketing.com/call. And here's why we're doing this. On the call, we're going to work with you to craft a game plan to hit your income goals for the next 12 months and attract the exact clients that you want to work with. The cost of these calls is absolutely free. We know that you might want our help to implement your plan, and if that's the case, we can discuss that, and we may invite you to work with us, and we may not. Either way, It's the most valuable 45 minutes that you're going to invest to grow your speaking-driven business and get real results. So I would encourage you, that is open right now. That link is active. That link is live. doitmarketing.com/call. If you're interested in a rapid breakthrough, let's get you on the calendar. Let's help you out. And let's go to the questions. We promised you a mega Q&A, live and in person. So what questions do you have about today's training, any of the 9 obstacles, any of the practices, principles, tools, strategies that we shared with you? How can we help you to make 2019 the very best year of your speaking-driven business? And type the questions in the question box. I'm going to go grab a quick drink. I'm going to let Woofy the Wonder Dog back in, and I'll be back in 15 seconds to answer the questions. And Teresa, you okay managing the question queue as they come in?
I am. I'm looking at them right now. We've got a couple of questions keyed up. And while you're gone, John, if you could elaborate on what precisely you would like David to talk about in regards to fee, price, integrity. Just put another note in the question box and let me know what specific you want to know. It's a big subject, and we did cover quite a bit of it. So I want to make sure that's still a question that you had. And then, of course, we'll go to Amy. And if anybody else has questions, this is your opportunity. We'll stay as long as there's questions.
Yeah, I'm back. I've gotten the dog thing down to about 15 seconds because when you have hundreds of people on a webinar, you're like, yeah, I got to go get the dog. Okay, see you later. Bye. And we've done that on live streams. We've done all kinds of places. So, I'm at the mercy of the dog. I really work for the dog.
The dog has to go. The dog has to go, man.
I work for the dog.
All right. So Amy has our first question. She says, can you speak the language that your prospect understands, but not be vanilla? Can you speak the language that your prospect understands, but not be vanilla?
Sure. Oh, so fantastic question. And man, I know we have a lot of clients on this call as well. So these guys have heard me say this about a million times. There is a fantastic place for vanilla. You know where the place for vanilla is? When you're talking about them and their problems. That is what I call kitchen table English. You heard me say that, right? Kitchen table English, plain English, not sexy, not proprietary, no buzzwords, no jargon, no branding, no nothing, right? So when I go out to speak, for example, here's what I say to people. I say, I work with speakers, consultants, and experts who want to do a better job with their marketing and get more clients. Period. End of sentence. Now, everybody that does what I do can say that, right? That is plain English. Speakers, consultants, and experts, plain English, do a better job with their marketing, vernacular, right? Easy, kitchen table English. And so that is the reason or the outcome so that they get more clients. Every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Jane competitor of mine can say the same thing. That is speaking prospect language about prospect problems. Completely jargon-free, completely buzzword-free. When they then say, well, that's interesting, how do you do that? That's where you cross over from articulation to distinction. So you might remember, I packed a lot of information, obviously, into this masterclass, but the articulation and distinction always work together. They always work together. So articulation is what you do and who you do it for. Distinction is how you're cooler, better, faster, sharper, smarter, etc. But they go together. I think where a lot of people screw this up is they get very buzzy and jargony and proprietary and brandy. That's a new word, brandy. Brandy. Why? They get very brandy when they describe what they do. And people look at you like, what the hell's wrong with you? I don't get that. What does that mean? So you will never get clients by confusing people. But you make a great point that there is a part of the conversation, which is the prospect's language, that is very plain English. And then when you start talking about how your programs are distinct, better, cooler, faster, smarter, I still recommend that to be plain English. But that's where you tell the backstory. That's where you do the overlay of your experiences, expertise, background, skills, industry knowledge, etc., etc. So, for example, when people say, well, David, how is your program different than a lot of other programs that are out there? I say, great question. Ours is the only program that is at the intersection of marketing, sales, and business development. And it includes 3 key ingredients that without all 3, you're not going to be successful. It includes world-class curriculum, coaching, and mentorship. So the coaching is the mindset support. The mentorship is the tactics, tools, scripts, etc. So now they're thinking, well, wait a second. Every other program that I'm now evaluating, it better include both marketing and sales and business development. And I'm now looking for it better include curriculum and coaching and mentorship. So by saying that, I've set the buying criteria for all my competition. I get an A, they get an F, we win. Do you see how that works? By the way, it took me 15 years to figure all that out, just so you know.
Thank goodness we can save those 15 years and
exactly. We can save those 15 years for you because I was the slow kid on the bus.
Fantastic. John has the next question. He says, so the specifics around fee integrity. He says, I keep hearing fee integrity, but I've found bureaus and speakers change their fees to fit the client instead of what you're saying, denying an opportunity or turning it down. Stay consistent with your charge. The second part of that is, when do you raise your fees because you're too low? Thanks.
Yeah, well, so again, if this was modeling what most people do, we'd all be zillionaires, right? If that was the key to success. So what most people do is missing, funky, broken, and sad, and wrong. So I never play games with the fee. That's not to say that we don't recommend negotiating. And we do help and mentor our clients around some specific negotiating strategies, but it's always value for value. It is not bargaining. And the difference between bargaining and negotiating, bargaining, you're simply lowering the price for no good reason. When you're negotiating, value goes up, fee goes up, value comes down, fee comes down. So negotiating value for value is where it's at. So if I do a program for $10,000 for one client, and then I do a program for $8,000 for another client, but that client bought 1,000 books, right? And 1,000 books cost them $10,000, let's say. Because they're willing to buy books, I am willing to lower the speaking fee, because the speaking fee is a different budget than the materials fee or the book buying fee for that conference. So I'm willing to cut them a break because that has economic value to me. Our client Susan, that you just saw her fabulous success story, why was she doing that gig for $3,500 where 5 weeks earlier she did a gig for $7,500? Because the HD video and the video testimonials and the personal introductions and the mailing list of that conference, that had economic value to her. So it was $4,000 of non-cash compensation, $3,500 of cash compensation. At the end of the day, $7,500 is $7,500. 10K is 10K, 4K is 4K, 8K is 8K. As long as you're not playing games with the fee, and when people hear me say, don't play games with the fee, they say, well, I know, David, that you say we should never negotiate. I never said you should never negotiate. I said you should never negotiate like a schmuck. So don't negotiate badly, right? Negotiate smart. And we teach our clients how to negotiate smart.
Awesome. All right. Linwood has a question, says, can this work with nonprofit-based speaking, dealing with preventing veteran suicides? And the second expertise is in the area of political elections and vote fraud prevention. I realize that these are two very disparate topics, but those are the two that I have dealt with over the years.
So the question is, can what we talked about here work, or are those viable topics? And as you're answering that, I will start to answer on my end. We've worked with people in all kinds of topics. I mean, you'd be amazed and surprised, 40 different industries and topics and niches that you would never even think is a topic or a niche, but they're just busting through. And, we had a guy that was doing, I'm thinking of Tom, right? So the alcohol and drug abuse, recovery for businesses, right? So these are all business topics, corporate topics.
Leadership.
We've worked with nonprofits. We've worked with healthcare, government, NGOs. I mean, the speaking is speaking. The question is, what's the strategy for monetizing your expertise, and how else can you translate, or how else can you reframe that expertise into a target market that can really afford to pay you. Because there are some markets that are just not viable. So, if you're speaking for the Peace Corps, no, that's, no, that's not going to be a long-term, hugely profitable strategy. If you take that and say, what can companies learn from cause-based organizations like the Peace Corps, because I've worked for 10 years in the Peace Corps, let's say, that could take off like wildfire. That could be a crazy good topic. So what else can we either pivot or translate or future cast your topic into a corporate or business setting where it would be distinct, it would be valuable, and it would fill a big need that they already have? That's what I would focus on there. But can you make what we talked about work in all these different other areas? You can, but obviously some are harder than others. But to unpack that, I would really book a call. I would really encourage you to hop on the calendar, go to doitmarketing.com/call, because that sounds like it's not going to be a quick and easy answer. It may be a more involved answer that has a couple layers to it. So doitmarketing.com/call.
Perfect. And Corinne says she would like some strategies for speaking in front of an audience that you took a gig as a free talk, and how do you leverage that to turn that into revenue? What do you recommend, David?
Is this our usual Corinne?
It is our usual Corinne.
Oh,
she's here to spend the day with us.
I'm gonna do something unusual right here. Teresa, do I have your permission to go unusual?
Yes.
You're scared now, right? People are scared.
I always hesitate. All
right. So Corinne, we got to get you on a breakthrough call, and it's time to fish or cut bait, my friend. All these free webinars and free resources and free this and free that, it's just another version of the squirrel and the pinball and trying to cobble together some kind of game plan out of scraps. So I love you. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I love that you're a fan. I love that you're a friend of these webinars. But let's get you the help that you need so we can stop dabbling and screwing around. And let's get you on a call. Show up on that call. Let's have a meaningful conversation where we can really fix these problems and not have you bouncing from webinar to webinar to webinar to webinar.
And
Teresa, how did I do?
You did great. And Corinne, you said it earlier in the webcast. You have all the experience, and I just gave you my private link to my calendar. So let's revisit. All right. I don't think no one else has any questions, David. That's it.
Excellent. Good. So we're hoping to hear from a whole bunch of people. Linwood, Peter, John, Corinne we just talked to, the other John, Brian, Claire. This is great.
Mike, I've got Joe.
You okay?
They're booked for tomorrow. I got Ron.
David, Jesse, Amy should book a call. Mike Davis, I think we've talked before. Ange or Ange, depending how you say it. Feel free to hop on with us. It's doitmarketing.com/call, and we will spend 45 minutes really unpacking these challenges, obstacles, questions, getting you some clarity and focus and direction, whether there's a next step or not, and we'll come to that mutual decision at the end of that conversation. But no matter what, we want to be helpful to you. We want to make sure that you're not falling into any of these 9 obstacles and that you're not stuck and that you're not spinning your wheels. So book the call now, doitmarketing.com/call, and we'll see you guys on your breakthrough call. We still have some slots this week, I think. Some openings tomorrow and the next day. So The time is now. 2019 is looming, and let's get you on a call to get you some clarity and focus and momentum to tackle it the right way.
All right, my
people.
friend.
Teresa French, love you as always. Great working with you.
Ditto. And I'll see you all on calls the next couple of days.